You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K23. As always, I'm the one and only Mo Mootsie, alongside me, the OG, Mr. BJ Armstrong.
Real name, no gimmicks, Bo. We don't have enough time to
Oh,
talk
man.
about everything. So
Let's get through
just
it
don't even
quick
let's
because
get
there's a
past
lot
all
to
of the.
talk about. All right,
There's a
let's
lot
start
to
it
talk
off.
about.
Fresh off the final buzzer. The Phoenix Suns defeat the LA Clippers 123-109, tying the series at one game apiece. Stand-up performer Devin Booker with a cool 38 points, 4 of 7 from downtown on 63% shooting. He had a great game. Kevin Durant had 25. But the big performance for me that stood out was Torrey Craig. 17 points on 5 3-pointers. We saw Coach Monty Williams go deep in his bench. Josh Okogie gave them a contribution. Bismack gave them a contribution. Great game for the Phoenix Suns to tie up the series. They would have been in real trouble had that not gone well. On the other side, the Clippers, Russell Westbrook, 28 points, great scoring output for him, in particular the first half. Kawhi Leonard, 31 points, doing what he does. Their depth contributed with Terrence Mann and Norman Powell both scoring in double digits. Ivica Zubac chipped in a little bit. Nicholas Batum couldn't hit a shot. It looks to me a little bit like he's rushing his shot form. Like he's trying to do the thing that guys do now where they catch it.
Who was that? Nicholas Batum?
Nicholas Batum. They catch it and they fire straight away without the little dip in the shot. But going into the mechanics of a jump shot is a whole separate conversation that we'll get into maybe on another day. BJ, what was your big takeaway from this game?
Well, game twos are always very interesting to me. Just from the simple fact you're going to see which team has the flexibility to make more adjustments or the adjustments that the other team can make. Now, this was a great game for Phoenix. Why? Because clearly they made an adjustment. You can see they got the ball immediately to Kevin Durant.
Off the tip.
They allowed him. Yeah, they got the ball to him. There wasn't any messing around running offenses and going to our secondary offense or trying to get another guy going. Kevin Durant was very aggressive and very direct. Devin Booker had a fantastic game, but Kevin Durant to me was the key, and he played it was like a Kevin Durant type performance, and it was a good game for the Phoenix Suns. Right, they all 5 starters scored in double figures, and I like their distribution. I like how they were playing with one another. I like the bench work of Biyombo and those guys when they came in, or Koji and all those guys. And they just got to find their rhythm. So great game. I thought the Clippers, hey, they came in, they did their job, they got one, like they were supposed to do. But now I think the series is kind of going to settle in now. Okay, these next 3-4 games are going to be the tell of the tape. But I think Phoenix kind of found something out. Now let's see what the Clippers can do when they get back there to LA. I think it's going to be a terrific series. However, this game too kind of showed me that Phoenix is very capable. Well, and they really showed me that they're not going to panic under pressure, and they're not going to lose a series. You're going to have to beat them. So it was very encouraging for the Phoenix Suns fans.
It's all about adjustments. The big thing in this game, the reason why Devin Booker could get off is because Kevin Durant was getting double teamed. They were trying to throw bodies at him. That's why a lot of guys, Torrey Craig, the defense was scrambling to try and recover from these double teams. And the other reason, Chris Paul had 16 points on an efficient night. The drop coverage of the Clippers, which, as you guys know, is when the big man, Zubac in this case, when there's a screen being set, he just drops all the way back and leaves the guard to try and fire over, which allows the offensive player to pull up for a mid-range jump shot or for a 3-point shot. They got punished off the drop coverage. Now, the adjustment they're going to have to make is finding a way to not play the drop coverage because the Phoenix Suns are an elite mid-range pull-up shooting team. So you can't go into a drop coverage against them. Now, your other options is to blitz, which is where you throw 2 guys at the ball handler. Zubac doesn't have the foot speed to go and do that and then recover. And then the other option is to switch. And you don't want to end up with Zubac trying to guard Devin Booker or guard Kevin Durant, right? So in my head, looking at this, the adjustment that I think the Clippers could make is what they did against the Utah Jazz in the conference semifinals. When they were playing against the Jazz, they just went small ball they did it in that series to stretch the floor and get Rudy Gobert out of the paint. In this series, I think if they go small ball, they have the ability to switch those screen roll actions. Obviously, the downside to that is DeAndre Ayton or Bismack Biyombo can absolutely feast in the paint against smaller guys. However, that's the compromise you're going to have to make. And then on the other side of the floor, they can run a 5-out offense. It will compromise their offensive rebounding. However, they get great offensive rebounding contributions from their guards. It's not just Zubac who's hitting the offensive glass. So guys like Russell Westbrook coming in to get offensive rebounds, Kawhi Leonard can get them. It will compromise. Zoo had 4 offensive rebounds today. Obviously, it will compromise that a little bit, but it does stretch the floor out, and it allows Kawhi Leonard to have more space to operate. It allows Russell Westbrook to protect the rim. And what it will do is what the Clippers have done a great job of, is allow them to drive the lanes and get the Phoenix Suns into foul trouble. There was a long stretch where DeAndre Ayton had to sit on the bench because he had 4 fouls. If you can get Booker or KD into foul trouble, then you're really cooking. So if I'm looking at the Clippers going into the next game, that might be something I try. What do you think?
Well, you know, what I always respected about Coach Lue is he coaches to his personnel. You know, when you have a big kid like Zubac, you just got to live with what he does and what he can do. And what he can do is he can protect the rim, okay, with his physical presence there. I don't think that's really an option for him to step out and double team. It's clearly not an option for him.
The Suns are one of the lowest teams in the NBA at attacking the rim in terms of getting opportunities at the basket. They love to live in the mid-range. So if you're going to take away something, surely you'd want to take away what they're most comfortable with.
Well, yeah, that may be true. Okay. All that may be true. And I'm going to live. You know, here's the thing. And maybe it's just my, you know, me. When I watch the game, I say, okay, what can I take away? All right. They are a terrific 3-point shooting team, right? They have 2 excellent 3-point shooters in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Kevin Durant gives them a new look as far as personnel, even though he hasn't played a lot of games there. The threat of him, to me, is more dangerous than actually what he's done, because you know what he's capable of doing. Yeah. So if it's me, I'm just going to take away something. Now, I thought what they were trying to do is saying, let's play defense from behind. And they blocked a couple of Kevin Durant's shots from behind early in the game. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, to me, that is an effective way to say, how can we take away the mid-range? But to Kevin Durant's credit, because he came out aggressive, but I think Russell had like 2 or 3 block shots.
Yep. Russell did a great job defensively.
Yeah. So if you fight over the top, which you don't see teams do during the regular season, you're saying we're going to take away the 3-point shot, we're going to take away the drive, and we're going to live with the mid-range. I mean, that to me is like professional sports. These guys are really, really good. I can't come into a defensive plan and say, hey guys, we're going to take away the mid-range. Like, how are you going to do that? It's almost impossible to stay in front of Kevin Durant.
But it makes Booker. It harder for them to score in the mid-range if you're switching on defense rather than having Zubac dropping back into the paint and then on a closeout.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. In theory, that's true, but I can get to the matchup that I want if I know you're going to switch. So I would prefer, if you're going to do that, is to do what I saw both coaches do. Mix up your defense so you can't get a rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? They both went zone at certain times of the game. They went to like matchup zones, a box and one. Kevin Durant is that good. Kawhi Leonard is that good. You can't, but maybe that's just, maybe I'm giving these guys too much respect. I don't think there's a way to stop all of these guys. But what I can do is protect. I'm going to protect the rim, because if you let somebody drive to the rim, you have no chance of winning. And if guys start making threes, it decreases your chance of winning, right? If you guy shoots 40, 50% from three, you all
Torrey Craig absolutely destroyed them, shooting 63% from downtown. One thing that's interesting here is the ball movement from the Clippers wasn't what it was in the first game. Their assist totals were down. In the first game, they had 23 assists. Tonight, they only had 17. For the Phoenix Suns, Booker and Paul combined for 17 assists amongst themselves, and they had 30 as a team. as they saw the double teams come in to KD, to Booker, and they got guys like Torrey Craig open in the corners for those easy knockdown triples. So that's that game. It's all squared up. The Clippers have now got home court advantage. I really just wish Paul George was playing in this series because that would make it even more interesting. So hopefully if this goes to 7 games, he might even make a little appearance. But we had 2 other games on this evening, BJ. Which one do you want to talk about first? The Celtics and Hawks or the
let's get your Celtics out of the way. The Celtics
get them out the way.
Great.
The Celtics, Celtics defense, 12 block shots in the game, 10 steals. Like the Hawks got a lead early, right? So I was late getting to the game. The Celtics, when I started watching, were down, I think like 12, 13 points. And then they just started playing defense. They just started locking guys up, blocking the hell out of them. They're getting out in transition. Especially, I did a little thread on Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you can see a whole little breakdown thing. They did a great job. The Hawks were being forced into shooting long shots, which leads to long rebounds. And as soon as the Celtics got the boards, they were away at the races, getting out in transition, moving the ball. Derek White, sensational. Malcolm Brogdon just bulldozing his way to the bucket. Jason Tatum stopped settling for 3-pointers and he started getting to the rim off the dribble, which was fantastic to see. Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Rob Williams, Jaylen Brown. Listen, it was beautiful. They were up 20 something. They let the lead get back down to 10 again, and then they closed out the game. Maybe that's just what they do. I'm hoping that they can continue that in Atlanta. I do expect the game to be closer, but I do feel like that they can close it out down the stretch if needs be because of the options that they have. Any thoughts on that game, BJ?
Well, again, I mean, 7, 8 guys in rotation. I'm concerned. They're winning.
I know
winning
that too.
So I don't. I think Joe Mazzulla. I didn't hear it, but I understand. I've heard from a few people around, and right before we jumped on the call, Joe Mazzulla addressed that why he's not playing Grant Williams, and I didn't see it, so I'm gonna have to read it after we get done taping here. But I'm concerned. Now, he's basically playing 7 guys right now. And if they're I expect this team to make a championship run. This isn't like a team that, well, they can hopefully get out of the first round. They're trying to win 16 games.
Yep.
And I just don't know how you're going to do it playing 7 guys. And one of the guys is not even 100% healthy in Rob Williams.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get it, Mose. But again, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. They're playing terrific. And I'm a huge fan of Joe Mazzulla, Coach Mazzulla. I'm a huge fan.
Well, it looks like
I love their team. Yeah, but I don't know why he's not
I'm
playing.
reading here is I think he's just doing it based on a matchup. He says this rotation gives us the best chance to win against Atlanta, and we're going to continue to run that. So I think that maybe he wants to just save Grant Williams for the Milwaukee Bucks as he did such a great job.
Well, no, that's fine.
Know. But you want to have your guys in rhythm. You want to have your guys playing.
Absolutely.
You can't have him sitting out for 2 weeks and then say, all right, now guard Giannis. Also very concerned about Giannis's health. We'll get onto that later on. That is the worry for me as well. But the Cavs and the Knicks, completely the opposite of what happened last time. The Cavs absolutely dominated in this game. BJ, you'll be happy as the shot distribution that we discussed in the last episode was very much more even. Darius Garland led them with 17 attempts on his way to 32 points and 7 assists. Donovan Mitchell must have been listening to the podcast because he had double-digit assists. He had 17 points and 13 dimes as he got his teammates involved. Evan Mobley got 11 shots. Jarrett Allen got 8 shots. Karis LeVert came off the bench and went 9 from 16 for 24 points. If they can get a contribution, I said it in the last episode, it's on the 5th guy. If Karis LeVert can be the 5th guy that comes in and gives them that contribution, fantastic. If Isaac Okoro can hit 1 or 2 threes, fantastic. If it could be Chetty Osman, fantastic. But as long as they get that one contribution from a 5th factor, I think they're in pretty good stead here. Obviously, being at home helps. They're going to have to go to Madison Square Garden for the next game. For the Knicks, it was great to see Josh Hart playing because he wasn't supposed to play. He gave it his all, as he always does. And it was pretty close at the first few stages of the game, and then the Cavs just really pulled away. Biggest thing that stood out to me was Darius Garland's effort and energy on the defensive side. He was wreaking havoc, just flying all over the place. The whole team was, to be fair. They turned up the defense a whole nother notch, and they were really battling on that side of the ball, leading to buckets in transition. What do you think, Mr. Armstrong?
Well, Mo, I said I wasn't going to say it. I'm just happy when you can redistribute the shot distribution. It just seems to me, it just seems obvious with
everybody eats. Everybody eats.
Okay. Your one guy gets, I don't know, 25, 30 shots, whatever he got last game. He gets 38 points. Great game. But when you have an engaged Mobley, okay, an engaged Jared Allen, Garland, Karis LeVert, when you have an engaged team with this level of talent, they're tough to beat. Now, at some point during the game, we're going to need Donovan Mitchell to do his Donovan Mitchell thing. Maybe it's a 5-minute stretch or 8-minute stretch. Maybe it's a quarter. But when he does it for 48 minutes and no one else is engaged, that's hard to do, okay? So great job. Great job by the coaching staff. Great job by Donovan Mitchell, okay? I mean, think about it. Here's a guy, he has 38 points in game one, has 13 assists in game two, and they win handedly. So clearly, Mo, you and I see what's going on here. And now, if Donovan Mitchell can somehow have a balance during the course of the game, I think this is a terrific team. Why? Because they have excellent bigs, a terrific point guard in Darius Garland. Clearly, you have Karis LeVert gets 20 points off the bench. They have depth. And if they can somehow have a blended brand of basketball, Mo, this is a very dangerous team. So great job tonight. However, they got to take their show on the road. I thought they did the better job tonight, especially in game two, where you make most of your adjustments during the course of a series. They look more flexible as far as making adjustments than the New York Knicks. I didn't see the Knicks do, this isn't a criticism. I just didn't see the Knicks make any adjustments during the game. They're like, we're just going to play hard. Now that worked in game one, but game two, Mo, I didn't see like, okay, we're going to try to exploit this matchup, or we're going to try to, play this brand of basketball. It's like, we're just going to play hard. And then if that doesn't work, we're just going to play harder. And if that doesn't work, we're just going to play harder. Now, it's going to be fascinating to see what they're going to do in game three. And then how the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to play on the road, because Cleveland has to get one of these games. I think, Mo, the team that wins consecutive games is going to win this series. Okay? If Cleveland wins game three, they're going to win the series. If the Knicks can win game three at home and game four at home, I think they're going to win the series. So we're going to see how this is going to play out. But, I thought the Knicks, after game one, I told you, I think the Knicks could win this series. However, it's going to be tough. I didn't like what I saw in game two, but it's one game. Give the Knicks credit, because the Knicks should feel good about what they accomplished here in Cleveland, because they got one. Let's see, can they go and defend home court? Yep. Let's see, can they go home and defend home court?
Well, speaking of defending home court, that's just got a whole lot more tricky for the Golden State Warriors, as Draymond Green is suspended for game three. That's the big news. I love the way the NBA put the news out during the fourth quarter of the Suns game, so that hopefully no one talked about it. But here we are anyway. We talked about this yesterday on the show. You didn't think that Draymond would be suspended, but I guess, a few factors have weighed into it. I guess his past conduct and, the way he was riling up the crowd on his way to the locker room after he got ejected. And I think Adam Silver was in the building as well, watching it unfold live in person. He's going to miss the next game. What are your thoughts on him being suspended?
Well, the reason I think he was going to be suspended was because of the following. This is great theater, and this is great for the league. I don't know the ratings for this, but it's been quite some time where I'm actually like, when the Warriors and the Kings are playing in this first round, Mo, I mean, I am excited about watching every minute of this game.
Yep.
Those first two games, Mo, were as good as I can recall in my time in the NBA. I mean, Mo, those are great. The first two games were fabulous. However, Mo, what happened, I didn't think he would get suspended for. It's in a long time. I said this to a good friend of mine tonight. I said, this is the first time in a long time I can recall where I thought the playback, when they do the replay, I thought the referees got it perfect. I think they got it right.
Yeah.
The bonus got a flagrant 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Draymond got a flagrant 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, the antics afterwards is what I underestimated. The antics of doing all of the things that Draymond did, I think that is what kind of pushed it over the edge, if you're asking me.
Yeah.
What happened during the course of the game, Mo? Yeah, okay, whatever. But you can go about reputation. You can pull out, things. You can, comparables of what happened in the past. But the antics afterwards, to me, Mo, is what pushed it over the top. Now, like I said, it was great theater. I mean, Mo, the anticipation for the game 3 is terrific. And I want to say something that, this isn't me talking, but before we got on the show, I just wanted to hear Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley got it right when he said this. This series, I don't want this situation with Draymond Green's suspension to take away from the Sacramento Kings. I want to make this clear. The Sacramento Kings are outplaying in the Golden State Warriors in the first 2 games. Now, it's a lot of basketball to be played, right?
Yep.
But I don't want this Draymond Green situation to take away from the following. The Sacramento Kings, they're playing terrific.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I don't, we're talking about it now. And I know all the shows here in the States are going to be talking about it. What does this mean? And I'm sure there's going to be some pushback from the Warriors fans and the and all that stuff. However, the fact remains, the Sacramento Kings right now, they're playing terrific.
Well,
and I just want to acknowledge that and say, it is what it is.
The lens in which we have to view this is, okay, cool, it's happened, whatever. Aside from the drama,
right?
How on earth are the Warriors going to replace the 40 whatever minutes that Draymond will be playing in this game? Because they already have a very thin front court rotation, right? Domantas Sabonis has a sternum contusion, so basically he's got a bruise on his ribs. He's questionable for game 3. He has been playing all season with a broken hand or something, so I'm pretty sure that he plays. That guy's tough. But how on earth, they've got Looney, but who else is taking these minutes? Otto Porter Jr. is not there anymore. Nemanja Bjelica is not there anymore. Andre Iguodala's not playing. Who's taking these minutes for the Warriors?
I think you got to go Kuminga and the kid. And I think you got to go Kuminga. And then I think you have to go. No, I think they're going to go. Yeah, JaMychal Green. I think that's who you have to go with. I might even start JaMychal Green just because. You know what? I Kuminga can give me a different look.
Yeah. If
I can steal minutes with JaMychal Green and then get Kuminga to play in that second unit and contribute with Jordan Poole and those guys coming off now.
Well, that's what I get. Any minutes this time.
Yeah. Now, what I don't know is what this is going to do to the physicality of the game. Yeah. Because if Kevon Looney gets in foul trouble, we got a big problem.
And the other thing is the offense the Warriors run. Draymond is so integral for. His moving screens are a big part on why the shooters can get open, and him being at the top of the key with the ball distributed.
Well, I'm going to say this.
Stephen Clay coming off screens. Go on.
When you get to this time of the year, you're familiar with the other team. Now, Mo, we don't know the new look and the new wrinkles that Steve Kerr is going to bring. So,
a preview of next year.
So this is going to be different. Okay, this is going to be different. And a lot of times, you see this all the time in the regular season, a top player is out on the other team, and they win because you're going to see players in different situations that you normally wouldn't see.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a tough game because everyone's going to have to answer, for the next couple of days. What do you think? What is this going to look like? You don't know who's going to say what. You don't know what it is as far as how people are going to respond. But I'm going to tell you this. Sacramento right now, they got an opportunity. And you got to close the deal. Okay. And right now, you would think on paper that this would favor the Kings.
Big time.
Okay. The
Big
last
time.
thing you want is for them to lose this game. He comes back in a ceremonial hero type thing.
Podcast.
Like a Willis Reed. And then it's 2-2 with game 5 going back to sack. That's what you don't want. So yeah. I think, as the young people say, you got to get locked in. Now I'm really locked in because you know what, Mo? They're on the ropes right now.
Absolutely.
Okay. And let me tell you something. When you got somebody on the ropes, when you got the champ on the ropes,
you better knock him out. Shout out to Andy Ruiz. We've got 3 games coming up tonight. Let's quickly go through all of them. Let's start with the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Is Ja Morant going to play in this game? That's the big question. He is questionable. If he doesn't play, we know that the Grizzlies can handle. They can handle a little bit of themselves when Ja Morant's not there. There's no breaks or fractures in his hand, thankfully. So he has a soft tissue bruise, and it will be a game time decision. I'm guessing that he plays just because it's the playoffs and you don't want to go down 0-2 at home. But we've got to see how much his hand can give. Not encouraging, though, after the first game with Rui and Austin Reeves getting cooking. I mean, what are you going to do when LeBron and AD get cooking properly? That's the concern. But they've got a defensive player of the year, all-star Jaren Jackson. They've got Dylan Brooks, who could go off on a spectacular shooting night.
I would say this. I'm going to say this. I would say this. This is a Wednesday tip-off. If he has no fractures or anything, let's say that. Do you give him as much time as you can so that you have him for the rest of the series? Because I think they don't play again until Saturday.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
early tip on Saturday.
Yeah. So, or do you try it? Maybe it doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? I would tend to say let's see, can we get this one at home, right? Because you're going to need everything you got on the road. Okay. So I would, if he can play. But if it's any question, let's let this thing rest, get to the road, try to, it sounds crazy, but you try to steal this one at home, let your own crowd push you over the top, know what you're coming into. You could game plan, and now you eliminate all of the Ja Morant talk, and then now the series 1-1.
Yeah.
And if you could get 1-1 with a healthy Ja Morant for 5 more games, or as healthy as he can be, that's giving yourself a chance. That's what I would do. But again, if he can play, hey, I hope he plays.
Okay. Well, speaking of injuries, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who left game 1 against the Heat, in which the Milwaukee Bucks lost, is he going to be missing game 2? There's optimism surrounding him, according to Shams, but I don't know if there's been an update ever since. He's listed as doubtful. I don't know if that's right. But do you think the Bucks could lose game 2 as well if there's no Giannis?
Yes. I do. I do think they could lose game 2. I absolutely do.
He didn't practice and he's listed as doubtful. So the Milwaukee Bucks could be in some serious trouble here.
When is game 3 for the Bucks?
Game 3 for the Bucks would be scheduled. Let me pull up my schedule right here. Game 3.
Oh, okay. Game 3 is on Saturday. Game 3 is on
Saturday after. Oh, just before the Lakers. The Lakers aren't the early tip. The Clippers are the early tip. Game 3, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 12:30 midnight for us here in the UK. Nice and early in the afternoon for you.
I'm going to say I would do.
Are you going with the same strategy that you just gave Memphis?
I'm going with the same strategy. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the same strategy.
Okay.
Because Tyler Hero is out, and I need Chris Middleton and these guys to step up and say, listen, we got to get this game.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Because that was a pretty hard fall.
Yeah.
That was a hard fall. And, traveling, he's going to be on the road. You're not going to be in your home bed. Da, 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 da. That's what I would do. If they're going to play Saturday, that's what I would do.
Okay. And a final game of tomorrow night, or tonight even, sorry, is the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. Do you see any hope for the Timberwolves because they got crushed in game one? Although having said that, they were coming off a play-in on Sunday, so they didn't have a lot of time to kind of rest and get ready. Right. Or even plan, and then they had to go up in the altitude. Do you think we see a better showing from them? Well, I don't think we can get a worse.
I'm going to give the Timberwolves the benefit of the doubt. That was a tough turnaround. Okay, as you and I discussed here a few nights back, that was a tough turnaround. However, this is game one of the series. Yep. I thought it was no way they could really win game one because of the tough turnaround.
Yep.
So I'm going to see what they're going to do. I'm going to see the adjustments they can make. I want to see a little bit more resistance, okay, to give their home fans, to give them some hope to say, okay, we got something accomplished, just like you saw the first half of the Atlanta Hawks. They got something accomplished. All right, they ended up losing big, but they got something accomplished there in the first half. So I want to see more resistance from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and this will, after tomorrow night's game, I will be able to tell you exactly what I think will happen for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I think if the Nuggets blow them out, then they should be very worried. But if you want to find out what happens in the rest of the series, make sure you subscribe to the Hoop Genius podcast. Oh, one more piece of news. Raptors player OG Anunoby, who was born in London, has purchased a minority stake in the London Lions, the British Basketball League franchise. So for all you British Basketball League fans out there, shout out to OG, investing in the game, things we love to see. Shout out to him. So that's pretty cool. But that's the last piece of news we got for you today. Make sure you subscribe. I've got to figure out ways to get OG on the show. Shouts to OG. But make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Share it with your friends. If any of your friends are trying to get into basketball over the playoffs, let them know this is what they need to be listening to. If any of your friends are already into basketball and don't listen to the podcast yet, well, then you're a bad friend if you ain't telling them that they should be tuning in. Shout out to everyone who locks in with us. Shout out to everyone who shows love. Shout out to everyone in the Discord. If you're in the UK in particular and you're watching these games just late at night on your own, we have great conversations going on in the Discord. Come and join the party. It's all good vibes. You know it. But most importantly, until next time, get buckets.